And we're live. Welcome to the most insane morning show on the planet. How the heck are you? We have dozens, if not 28, according to the official numbers in the top left here, 29 and growing with 19 thumbs ups. Can you guys hear me? Because I don't have my earbuds in. And give me a thumbs up if the quality is any good, or I will put in my earbuds. So let me know if you can hear me. 420, I trust you. Please, Ransom, tell me if the audio is okay. Yes, 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 yes. Great. Now we can hear all the ambient air, or any people that come in to kill me or accost me will be able to hear that live. So there we go. And I have to turn the computer at this very weird angle. It's like over here. So I have to read diagonally and type weird. So that's going to be hard. Yeah, I have to be pixelated because we are on satellite. Okay. All right, we're going to have a quick live stream today. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have on any subjects that you may throw my way. Oh, that is the driveway alarm on the right side of the property. We have multiple sounds for different sides of the property when people enter the facility. So let me go check it out. So Gremlin decided to go to the river, and she was walking down the driveway to the river. So there we go. Okay. We are ready to rock and roll. And I will take any questions you have. Yeah, we got a drone from our viewers, and I won't really reveal his name, sent this to me in the mail. I just got it set up. There is our controller. And all this little baby is just in this tiny little package. It is a DJI Mavic. And there she blows. So we've got a very high quality drone that we're going to be taking to all locations. And Leah and I have just planned our first trip. Well, not our first trip. We just planned our first trip to use the drone. And that is going to be in New Mexico in a week or so. It's called La Centagüilla petroglyphs, I think. Don't quote me on it. Okay, so let's get to some good questions so we can get some good answers. When is the barn dominium ready for habitat? Well, we have another house down the road that we live in, which is a problem because it doesn't put a lot of pressure on us to get the barn dominium done now, does it? But we're in a state of flux where we're trying to figure if we're going to use these used cabinets or buy some new cabinets. So we're sleeping on it, as they say, which is a good thing to do. If there's one thing I've learned in all my wisdom and stupidity in the years that I've lived in this earth, is that if you have a big question or a problem or something you're trying to get past and it's a sticking point or you're stuck, do not ever rush to an answer. You want to sleep on it. In fact, you want to pray on it, and that even if you don't pray, just wait and say, what should I do? And go to sleep. And in a few days, you're going to get an answer that's going to be the answer that you need. So don't rush things. Okay. What do you say to door-to-door V pushers? They're not here, not in our state that I know of. So just like a Jehovah's Witness that knocks on your door, you don't answer it. Or you answer the door naked, perhaps. Or you could put on a Halloween costume and answer the door. But I just wouldn't answer the door. Or you could sit right behind the door with your shotgun and just cock it. And that usually, yeah. Okay. Would you even consider an interview with the Die Hold Foundation? Of course, Doug Vogt and I are friends. And I would definitely do an interview with Doug Vogt. I don't know if he would do one. I'll reach out to Doug and see if he wants to do an interview. So I'll do that for you guys. Thank you, Michael Fettner. $4.99. Boom. Try again. Okay, so let me see if what is the difference between Beam and EN1? EN1 is a bacillus, lactis bacillus. It's a different, they're different bacterias. So the Beam is a different process than the EM1. The Beam is made in a type of composting reactor where what you're left with is this incredibly dense material that has biologicals and fungi in a particular ratio. And in fact, it has so many different bacteria and fungi that it doesn't even compare to EM1. EM1 is very limited. It's very good, but EM1 is a type of South Korean natural farming technique that's been used for eons that is very beneficial to the soil because it puts the essential micronutrients in the soil, well, actually releases the essential micronutrients using the bacteria in the EM1. Now, the Beam has way more stuff in it, and it's so simple to use. You just take a scoop of it, put it in a 5-gallon bucket, swish it around, and the bacteria and the fungi come off of that compost. So it's not the compost you're using, it's the bacteria and fungi. And it's so broad-based that you could spray it on anything and the results will be immediate and awesome. Same with EM1, but EM1 costs a lot more money. But once you buy it, you can keep making it. The Beam is pretty cheap and can treat a huge area and you're done. So one and done with the Beam. EM1 you just use every year and you keep making more, and you've got to buy it takes so much time to make the EM1, to be quite honest. It takes hours to make 100 gallons, and then you got to do it again and again and again and again. When you can just take $20 and buy the Beam and be done. Boom! And time is money. Money is time. Time is money. So for me, $20 to treat a whole acre with Beam is a no-brainer because it would take me 6 hours to make enough EM1 and $30 in supplies, and I got to heat the water and do it right and burp the bottles, and sometimes they explode. So there's trade-offs. So you have to decide what's important for you. Okay, let me move along here. Office building for ORP Productions. Office building for ORP Productions. I don't know what that means, 420. They use the used, recycle, birthday plan. We're going to Lake Vallecito, and there'll be some footage on Saturday for that, which is one of the largest lakes in Colorado and allows all types of boating and swimming. Very few lakes allow swimming, so it should be pretty interesting. Did we already thank Michael Fettner with the super chat? Boom. Have any meat rabbits? No, a friend of ours up the road used to raise rabbits. And based on his experience, it's the simplest way to raise huge amounts of meat without doing anything. And not only that, he got he could literally clean a rabbit, he said, in about 10 seconds. He had all these nails hung up on his rabbit hutches. The rabbits even became wild, and when they had babies, would come back in the hutch for their safety, and he could catch more. It was a very simple process. And you get rabbit meat. So that could be something we do in the future, but it's nothing that we are planning on doing because you have to feed the rabbits. And we have so much large game out here that in a shit-fan scenario, just a few neighbors could shoot 10 elk in one night and we would have meat for years. So not really worried about the meat front where we are. In an area where you don't have a lot of big animals, or you have too many people that's going to hunt out the woods, you definitely need to have some meat production. What we are getting is 80 new varieties of birds this fall, including tons of different types of roosters. We're going to have a rooster house out here, and we're going to start working on making meat birds in high production because it's very easy to do. The birds sit on the eggs for you and create the babies that you're going to eventually cull and process. And so then we can be in a scenario where the shit hits the fan, we could then be supplying all the neighbors with hens and roos to make more birds, and we could be proliferating these birds. Very easy to make birds, very easy to feed birds with just some crap from the woods. You can even free range them. So we're going to stick with the chickens instead of the rabbits. and wild game? That was a very long-winded question. Are there any places, this is from Top 10 Titties. Are there any places to live in Honduras or Central America? Yeah, I'm sure there's many places to live there, by the way. Good question. No. Yeah, there are many places to live in those countries. I understand the volcanoes are dangerous, but if we stay away 100 miles east and west, but how about the other factors? Well, here's what happens in tropical areas: humidity, volcanoes, disease, and then the insects eat you. It's horrible. If you're looking for a survival situation, you don't want to be in a high humidity area. That's just my opinion. So people living in high humidity areas, things can go bad. All your supplies can get moldy. Everything can go wrong. Bacterial infections and fungus and ew. So that's why I moved to the desert, because it's dry. And you can leave a piece of equipment outside in the desert all year and it starts right up in the spring. Ding, ding. But there's just many considerations. And also in the tropics are small areas. And if it's cold, people are going to head there. So the one thing you should remember is that you could survive anywhere if you're prepared. Doesn't matter where it is. Now, if you're on the edge of a volcano that explodes and the flesh falls off of your bones, obviously it's a poor spot and you probably won't live there. But living near a volcano doesn't mean you're going to be consumed by the volcano. If you're directly downwind from it, well, stupid spot. But if you're nearby, you could probably live. Now, the problem is if there's a large volcanic eruption that affects the air and the weather, everything gets contaminated, the groundwater, the soil. So then you'll have to move. So proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance when you live near a volcano. Hello. All right, top 10 titties. That's it for you. Boom from the UK. Hey, Martin E. Arnold Schmidt. Excellent decision-making policy diamond. IP camera with audio of shotgun been cocked. IP camera with audio of shotgun been cocked. No idea what that means. Melinda Biddle, great question, Top. What was Top Knot's question? Top Knot, I missed your question. I'm going back. I'm looking for Top Knot's question. Oh, I already answered that. The difference between beam and EM1. Bada bing, bada boom, bada beam. I said it. Okay. Susan Brandt in the house. $10 super chat. Who's that from? I'll get to it. I'm sorry. I'm reading anyway. Need a brief on how to use EM1. There's lots of videos on YouTube on how to make EM1. So go get those. And how you use EM1 is you put it in a sprayer on a hose and you spray it on your soil. You can spray it on the plants, but you want to get it into that soil. Simple. Same thing with beam. You take the dirt, you throw it in a bucket, you swish it around, you strain out the water, and you spray it on the soil. It would be an interesting interview with Vote. Yes, I agree. Doug has discovered everything, by the way. So, okay. I use biodynamic stir and sprays with much luck too. Yeah, of course. And even when you're transplanting, look, I just started using this product called Microbial. It's about $15 for 3 pounds. It's a white powder, and it is a mycorrhizal inoculant powder, which Beam is going to be coming in a powder soon, like Microbial. But the Microbial prevents root shock and transplant shock. And when you dig the hole, you just sprinkle the powder in, you put the transplant in, you push the powder up where the roots have been a little stressed, and the results are fantastic. So this is the way of natural farming, permaculture in the future. And if you have a permaculture orchard and you want more success, a few dollars goes a long way to peace of mind, in my opinion. So check out the Microbial 2. And Beam still is coming out with a powdered inoculant soon, so we'll probably just be using that. My computer, when you are using a laptop for thousands of podcasts, and if you could go over to my Bitly and see the 1.9 million links that we've created there, the computer gets compromised at some point, and it just shut down, and we have not been able to get back into that laptop. It literally fried. So using the 7P protocol. The new laptop I'm working on now is not the one we're going to be using for the show. It's the one we're using now until I get the actual computer I need. And this one will have everything set up as a backup. So in the case that a computer fries or is compromised from outside, who knows, then we have another one that's ready to go. And it's not a nightmare. It literally was like, I can't even describe to you, 30 or 40 continuous hours to reset up all of the software that we use for screen capture, on and on and on. All the passwords have to be reset. We have very high security on lots of our accounts. So once you start using another device, bells and whistles go off as if you're being hacked, and then it's a nightmare. So we think we've solved the problem. So let me go back to some actual questions. Okay, I'm sorry if I missed anybody. Rex is in the house. Okay, Annie Haas, $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Can you tell me the best resource for information on Grand Solar Minimum to give a skeptical family and friends? Books, website. Need lots of facts. Well, John Casey's book, Cold Sun or Dark Winter. I don't know. There might be others. He's a pretty mainstream resource, came from the military, well respected, and the book is well written. So those are really good resources. A preparedness resource written by another PhD that we know, which is Dr. Anita Bailey, Cold Times, is an excellent book, which is an introduction to preparedness while you're learning about the science. So either of those books is a good way to go. I don't recommend my show because I'm a maniac and most people take me for a grain of salt because they have no critical thinking skills. And so there's that. So any of those books I mentioned. And boom to you, Annie Haas, with your super chat. We have a $20 Sam super chat. Boom! Thank you, Sam. Hi, Diamond. Good to see you, friend. Quick question. I know you said that many times, but my memory is good but short. How long will it take an X-flare before it will hit the Earth? It depends. It could reach us as fast as 12 hours. But you're looking at 12 to 36 hours, probably sometime more in the 18 to 24. Depending on the direction, is it directly Earth-facing and how fast the CME was launched, which all can be calculated within a few hours after the event, and we'll know when it will start to hit us. The problem is that during a large flaring event, in my opinion, like the Carrington event, it's not just one CME. It is a large sunspot cluster that's gigantic, that's blasting off CMEs in a series. And we just saw this happen off the backside of the sun with a sunspot that's now turning around and becoming Earth-facing. It literally shot off a series of kill shots. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what will happen, in my opinion, when the grid fails. We're going to not just have one CME, we're going to have CME after CME during an event that lasts 24 to 36 hours or more. So there you go. Start prepping. Okay, now let me look for some more questions. Thank you all for joining us. 173 in the house, 93 thumbs ups. We love each and every one of you. Okay, the upstate prepper. I've been trying to spread the warning about the poles, Grand Solar Minimum, magnetic excursions, and people just look at me like I'm crazy. Yeah, that's because they are completely brainwashed. There is no reason to warn these people or try to wake them up. It's a waste of time. What you want to do is find the people that are willing to listen, learn, and be part of your team. So do not convince people that don't want to be convinced. Now, look, I'm a member of a anonymous group, an anonymous society. There is no way that you can force someone to come into my anonymous society to get help. If you try to force someone to get help with drugs or alcohol, all you do is away from the help that they need. It is attraction, not promotion, that brings people into the anonymous group that I'm a part of. Attraction, not promotion. So the people that are attracted to you based on what you're doing, prepping or your lifestyle, are the people that are going to listen to you and be beneficial to you in the future or be an ally. Attraction, not promotion. There is no reason that we need to go out there and tell all the global warming idiots convince that they're wrong because all that happens is an argument. So it's useless. Now, it's sad because it's usually friends and family. So there is a huge division happening in our population amongst families. And it is all being perpetrated by the mainstream media and governments worldwide. They're literally destroying the family. They're literally destroying society on purpose. This is how you do it. This is how you break down society. You do exactly what they're doing. And people that are not willing to listen and to know that this has happened in the past and this is not some conspiracy theory. I can prove it to you that this is what's happening. If they're not willing to listen, they're just going to get pushed further away from the truth. So you either take the red pill and fall in the hole, or there is no help for you, period. Okay. Whew. Good question, Upstate Prepper. I got chills on that answer. Holy macaroni. Sunset view in the house. Suppose we get a solar kill shot. Would propane tank for heating be a risky situation? An inert propane tank sitting out there, solar flare, and then what happens? Sunset view? It blows up because of a solar flare? Let me think about that. No, propane will be fine. Now, if your propane is connected to an electric starter on a stove and you have it on and the flare's hitting, then you're an idiot. Okay. So, okay, Sunset V. Annie Haas. Yes, I need convincing resources for skeptics. No, there's no use in who cares about skeptics? They can suck it. When is the best time to germinate canna seeds? The earliest you can during the natural growing season. For us, it's February, March, and April because you want the largest plant before it changes as the light period gets reduced. And that happens usually in the first week of August, is when plants stop growing and they start fruiting, so to speak. Emilio Sanseviero, do you think that land masses along the equator will become prime real estate in the future? No, I don't think we'll be able to move in the future. As the society collapses, however it happens, if the grid goes down, no one will be traveling. Now, there will be mass migrations of sorts, but you won't get very far. Now, think about if you're in Indiana, what are you trying to go to the equator? Come on, think about it. Most people shelter in place and go very short distances once the event happens. But before the event happens, I believe that there will be wars and other problems with countries, and they're going to shut the borders. There will be no travel. We basically have that happening now. You can't go to Mexico or Canada if you want to take a vacation in the US because it's very dangerous out there. Very dangerous. Dabs, not jabs. I agree, Elon Butterfield. Graham Bliss in the house, finishing your last video now, and you're talking bean. That's a boom. Graham, water, dog, herb farm. Are you growing azolla in your pond? No. Carolyn, Suzanne, Lowell Elton. Tammy Radfield, how are the bees? The bees are the bomb. It's raining. Everything's blooming. The rabbit bush is coming in. It has so much pollen. The corn is tasseling and is so much pollen. I've never seen bees all over corn like they were this morning. So our corn's going to be the bomb. The bees are the bomb. And the beam is the boom. It's amazing. Thank you, PJ Dave. Water Dog Herb Farm. Kathleen Ryan, thanks for everything. Like to maybe be a beam distributor. Well, go to our beam link and click affiliate and become one. Done. 10% in your pocket. That means if you sell 100,000 in beam, you get 10 grand. That's a beam boom, I think. 420 Freedomist. Pull the hard drive. We can use the data as an external hard drive. Yeah, I can do that. I haven't gone in there yet because I don't really give a about the pictures or any of that crap. It's not what I cared about. I cared about um, ease of access, getting into my cryptocurrency, my bank accounts, and all that shit. It was all on that computer. So I I can take more pictures. I can find more files. So I don't care. Material things don't matter to me. Look at the barn. Ransom, you've been here. I'm embarrassed to wear this hat, for goodness sakes. Bees in West Texas only now recovering. Bean boom. Question: how do you, Jason Schmidt? Here it comes. How do you believe Galactic Center works? Does it operate similar to our sun with cycles? No, I believe that each galactic center is its own servo, and each galaxy has its own cycles, its own pattern. And we know ours, it's called the Yuga cycle. And that is our galactic pattern. And whatever those seven plasmoids there in Sagittarius B or whatever they call the middle are doing, it's the type of servo that's like, remember that creepy movie with Jodie Foster when they had that machine and she went saw the aliens or whatever? It was like, wow, 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 wow. So our Milky Way produces a resonance. A lot of people talk about that. And the resonance is the Yuga cycle, the galactic wave. That's the the cycle wave. That's the wave in our galaxy. Go to a different galaxy, you're going to get a different pattern, in my opinion. So we still have no idea what that is or what the source is. But it is electric, folks, if not magnetic. The only way you can have magnetism is an electric field. So therefore, it's magnetic electric is the same in essence. Major pollen here because of drought. Sonia Me, 420. My corn is covered in bees. Yes, it is. Beam. Why don't they export to Europe? Because it would cost $50 to ship you $20 of beam. There's definitely someone making beam in Europe, and you can just go find those people. It's not cost effective to ship this dirt all around the world. You either get it local, get it close, cheap shipping, or you're not going to get it because it doesn't make any sense when you can just watch a video and make your own bioreactor, make your own beam. So there's definitely someone making beam in Europe. There's definitely someone making beam in Asia. Someone's making beam in India. The beam is out of the bag and it's a boom. Get the beam. Are they trying to hide the effects of polar exchange? Oh, damn, I just missed it. Hey, Diamond, this is David Camporotondo, something like that. Hey, Diamond, I'm currently living in Italy. Oh. Do you think I should leave this country ASAP because of the seismic and volcanic activity? If you're in an area where you're going to die, yes. If you're high up in the mountains where a landslide is going to kill you, yes. If you're near a volcano, yes. If you're by a major fault zone where everything's going to collapse, yes. But if you're far out in the country and you're eating oranges and olives, hello, stay there. Get out of harm's way, and you can survive anywhere if you have the resources. You need clean water, access to wild edibles, food, and wild animals, and you need no people. People. Graphene oxide is nonsense. Stop saying it, talking about it, sharing it. Bullshit. 99% of the vaccine is graphene oxide. You have to literally be brain damaged and retarded to believe that. Period. Saturday full moon, good time to do the calves. Yes, PJ Dave, anytime. But full moon, if you have limited brain capacity and can't find fantastic places to go, yeah, just go outside with the moon. That's a boom. Kind of a sonic singularity. Pulsars are at the galactic center. Pulsar is a made up nonsense thing that's not a thing. So, like, anyway, like a neutron star, also a fairy tale. Pulsars, quasars, they're made up words to describe things that we don't understand. So you just said things that we made up are in the center. That's what's running the show. Made up stuff. It might as well be 7 black holes because that's what they just told us, that the center of our galaxy is black holes. Well, why isn't it all getting sucked into the hole then? Oh, well, we don't have that paper yet. We're working on the paper. The black holes don't suck anymore. They emit jets. So shut up and eat your black hole. Okay, thoughts on the cluster of quakes at Yellowstone. There are clusters of quakes at Yellowstone 7 times a year, every year since we had seismographs. That's how Yellowstone works. Seismic swarms, hydrothermal swarms, rises and falls, geysers go off here and over there, and it migrates all around. There is nothing abnormal going on at Yellowstone, not even 1% abnormal anywhere, period. My dad told me 55 years ago, look at the plants and the birds. Isn't that the shit they were going to make an elevator to space with? No, I think those were carbon nanotubes. Carbon nanotubes, I think they were going to make a string and, but don't quote me on it. But you certainly can search the internet and find out the truth, because everything on the internet is true. Remember that. Cognitive dissonance is wow, I heard about the pole stars. Agreed. Made up, oh my God, I can't even find a question. Magic mushrooms taught me that there was more to the realities that what we are taught in school. You needed the mushrooms for that, huh? Jay Lee, in upstate New York, the trees are dying in ways I've never seen. Some break in PCS, some are bare, and many covered in odd vine. Do you see that happening there? Trees die all the time in the forest. It could be dry, they could be diseased, they could get covered in vines. Maybe you've just started to go outside and actually observe the forest. Maybe that's what's happening. Toroidal magnetic fields. What's at the center of the donut? Good question, Wally Tango Foxtrot. What are your Recon Delta? What are your thoughts on the HAARP? Spelled incorrectly. Using frequency to heat up the ionosphere to cause the engineering global warming. Your ultimate agenda, one world government with the HAARP. Well, if you spell HAARP correctly in the future, and you do a little research on HAARP, a few papers coming out in the last 2 years prove, and they tried to affect the ionosphere and create weather or do something with HAARP, that it is pitifully incapable of almost doing anything. And it can barely affect a tiny little region on Earth. And if I showed you how small the region was, well, you'd be embarrassed. So they're not doing anything with HAARP, first of all, except experiments that barely do anything. And second, that's a whole nother podcast. But I will say this. A lot of people are like, they can create weather. We covered this in last night's podcast. They can't create weather. No one can create weather. We can augment weather. It's called geoengineering. It's been going on for 70 or more years. The only way you can augment weather is if the weather is there. So let's say the West Coast, California and Oregon, we can't make it rain because there aren't any clouds. If there were clouds and it wasn't raining, you can better believe that 1 million silver iodide missiles would be shot up into those clouds to make rain. That's what they do here in the West. We do it here in Pagosa, but you cannot make it rain if there aren't any clouds. And we don't have the ability to make clouds. The sun has the ability to make clouds using cosmic rays, but man does not know how to make clouds yet. That's why we don't know how to make weather. We can augment the weather in 5 to 10%. We can augment weather, but that's it. And the papers I read on the 5 to 10% augmentation are not very convincing. So I don't even believe that that's true. It's almost like the placebo effect. Bullshit. Which is why Dane Wigington is the biggest disinformation agent of our government. And people gobble it up, paid for by the CIA. Okay, a couple more questions and we're out of here. We've been live for 34 minutes, 48 seconds, now 50 seconds. 250 people in the house. I am parched. And this is coffee, so it's not really going to help me. I don't have any water here. Can you believe that? 7 Ps. All right. Let me answer a few more questions. I'm sorry if I missed your questions. You can always email me at oppenheimerranch@gmail.com, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions. I answer all my emails and look at almost all of my comments and respond. Okay. 420, Gemma Stone, temperature and humidity. He answered for me. Thank you, 420. Fairy wings. I wish they would. Lol. We've had quite a bit of clouds here recently in Eastern Washington, where I'm at. Clouds in the morning, and then they go away in the afternoon. Well, you can always talk to your local government and tell them about cloud seeding and silver iodide. And there are many ski resorts in Washington State and Oregon that use the protocol. So they would just have to move the small Cessna or whatever they use down to your region to try to make it rain. Now, I don't know why we're not utilizing this in many of these regions, but we're not. And it's because the reason they use it out here is because the ski resorts that make millions of dollars shoot rockets into these clouds to make more snow, because when it snows, it's raining dollars. Making it rain to put out fires doesn't make anybody money. That's the problem. If putting out fires made people money, then they would be doing it. See how that works? All right, $14.99 super chat from Jeremy R. We love you, Jeremy. Do you have a question? How do I get it? I'm always stuck. I can't do anything. I wish they would. Lol. We've had quite a bit of clouds here. Okay, read that. What is COVID and the Delta variant? Can't talk about that. It's an overreaction to control you, by the way. I spelled it right. Okay, Breeze Urban Homestead of Hope. What should someone who is just discovering this information do to get prepared? I have 2 little kids to protect, and it's overwhelming. Not really. You just have to plan for no electricity. So learn how to survive like the olden days. It's not that hard. That's all. You don't have to fearmonger and tell your children the world is going to end, because it's not. You don't have to scare them that the empire is over, because the empire sucks anyway. And whatever is new is going to be better. You just have to homeschool and learn how to be self-sufficient and self-reliant. Doesn't that sound like what everyone should be? Why in the world should we be relying on an entity that is not ourselves? This is what we're teaching people. It's completely antithetical to how we should all be living. We should all be growing the cleanest, nutrient-dense food that we grow, so that we can be healthy and never be sick. We should all be doing that. And yet, that's not how we train our children. We train them to lie, cheat, and steal and get to the top by any means necessary, and to rely on the government in your retirement, your IRA, and all that other dumb shit. Right now, if you have $8 million, you still can't retire. Who has that kind of money? I mean, come on. And I live paycheck to paycheck, as they say. I was hungry this morning, so I went outside and I ate 4 different types of berries. Guess what? I wasn't hungry anymore. And in the interim, I was also eating some raw peas and other very nutrient-dense things. Then I came in and I had a banana. I probably had more nutrition before 8 a.m. than most people have in a month or a year. Most people. 80% of the country is nutrient deficient. And I felt like I was getting so close here, I should start whispering so I could be creepy, like the Bidenator. Isn't that creepy? What? Oh, God. Can I use the beam? Jeremy, Tobin, can I use the beam? Where'd you go? Man, I hate it when everything scrolls by. Delta's a fairy tale. Albert Howard, have you seen the work Paul Stamets is doing with fungi? Of course. I'm from the East Coast. I know Paul. Why do people believe in something like the Black Star or Planet X? Flat Earth. Perfect example. Why? And 9 people just shot up into space over the last week and saw the curvature of the Earth. But it's flat because they put in special windows to make it look curved. Don't you know that? You idiot. Michael Caldwell. Why is the sun white instead of yellow and orange like it used to be? Well, I'll tell you why. We have less magnetosphere, less atmosphere, space is closer, and the sun is weaker. Isn't that a tweaker? Michael Caldwell already answered that. Sonoma Mia, our hospitals aren't full. They never were. They never will be. Wally, Tango, Foxtrot. Live poison free. Indeed. All the sun thumbs up. 420. Grow food and visit your farm. Who can't pay the light bill for a week? You will figure it out being poor. Train me for hard times. And Ransom's been dirt poor. I've been homeless. So we know. We know how to eat on the cheap. I made pasta once, and my sauce was 2 packs of ketchup. Delicious. Is turning off the breaker enough to save the house from fire during a flare? Depends on the size of the flare. And turning off the breaker? No, probably not. Not if it was a mega flare. Anything that's electrical or copper or exposed will heat up. So, could be a shit show. Now, during the Carrington event, power lines lit on fire. Tiny single electrical wires heated up, lit on fire. So, if it's a big enough flare and the amount of wires we got around here, oh my goodness. Think about it. Think about it. Okay. Grand solar minimum for reals is in the house. And that would be, I don't know if I want to dox you, Zach. Ha! I just did. Oh, did you hear what happened in Birmingham, Alabama? No, we don't care because it's about that thing we can't talk about. All of a sudden, learn to live without electricity. That's boom. Yes, learn to live without electricity, please. South Idaho APA. What anonymous groups are you part of? Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's not preppers, by the way. So South Idaho just doesn't get it. Some people just don't get it. A lot of you got it, but sometimes you got to spell it out. Okay, Froggy Zombie, how do you protect N52 magnet from a CME flare? Does anyone know what you're talking about? Okay, your audio is going in and out. All right. Boom! Now it is not going in and out. Check out Greg Braden, folks. He's a little weird. He's all right. He's acting. So there's that. And there's nothing that I don't say that he says. In fact, he probably watches Rex and Diamond, and then he does his amazing show. I'm amazing. I can balance crystals on my nipples. Look at my hair. So if you're into that, go for it. Steve Smith, is there something measuring the specific distance change from Earth to Sun as we orbit our solar system and the barycenter of the sun changes? Yeah, there are hundreds of websites that calculate exact periodicities and orbits all over the astronomy world. You can find out how far the moon is and the sun is at any second or any position from where you're standing. This is not like a new science. It's been around for decades. And all you have to do is go look on the interwebs to go find these sites. The Sky Live is a great site that you can basically find out. You can find how far Jupiter was away 7,000 years ago when you were standing in Spain. Go get it. Hope that answered your question, Steve Smith. Crystal nipples is a thing. Yes. Yes, it is. It is. I've seen it. Saturn's raindrops. Dane Wellington. Michael Pierce, the audio was having a problem a while back, but has been great in the last 10 minutes. Well, I just put the headphones on, so it's probably even better. First rule of Fight Club. My plums ripen 1 month late. So random. Yeah, our plums are green and hard. And I don't care. They're still on the trees. So every season is different. Sometimes it's good in the early. Sometimes it's hot, dry in the middle. It's called weather. And anyone who's been growing for a long time knows Each season is completely different. You have success with the carrots, or success with the squash, or success with the tomatoes, or success with the whatever, potatoes. Some things are good, some things are bad. Sometimes there's more of this pest, sometimes there's less of that, which is why you need to be resilient, redundant, and have multiple avenues of feeding yourself. Because if one fails and that's the only one you got, well, it's over, Johnny. 45 minutes in, I'm going to take 2 more questions. And I'm sorry if I missed your question. Cryptic Patriot Diamond. Do you think the government is preparing for something? Do they know something that we don't? No, the government is stupid. And the government isn't doing anything. There's a higher group that is controlling the narrative of the government. If you think that Joe Biden, if you think you could sit down and have an actual conversation with Joe Biden and he wouldn't come off to you as a senile idiot, if you actually think he's knows what he's reading, then you have a long way to go. Certain people are aware of certain possibilities happening in the future. And those are the elites. And there are elite circles and secret societies that are well aware of what is potentially coming, and they're capitalizing on it. And therein lies the problem, because if they know something is coming, they're going to initiate something prior to the event, which will be much worse. And you need to be prepared. So, sign of the times. One more question. Alternative theory, Froggy Zombie, but all the power wires were burned. That's not a question. J'ai les mois. What temp should beam need to be stored? If you store beam at 50 degrees in the dark, it will last forever. So just put it in the root cellar. Beam will last forever because the bacteria and the fungi are on the compost and they're just sitting there waiting to be washed off and to grow. So if you don't freeze it, if you don't heat it too hot, and you just keep it sitting there, it's ready to go forever. Is the earth speeding up? Yes, by a millisecond every year. It's been doing that for decades. You can go to how long is a day, which is at www.timeanddate.com. And you can follow along. You can look at the historical values. So we've been speeding up a teensy little bit every year for decades, which means very little, by the way. Okay, has anyone already asked about nuclear power plants after the CME? Well, after a huge grid down scenario where the grid is out for years because everything gets fried, there's fires lighting, it's going to take months to put out the fires and for everyone to die. Now, in the interim, there are going to be certain agencies and governments and underground facilities, Cheyenne Mountain, et cetera, that are going to be running at full capacity and are going to be bringing people in. So those that are in the know are going to be alive and well with electric and internet. Those that are not in the know next to nuclear power plants, within a year, most of their redundant backup systems will fail. Now, what will probably happen is that within a few months after an event like that, the remaining government entities are going to need to protect those facilities because they're still on this planet. And they will develop a strategy to keep the redundant backup systems working at the nuclear facilities, or they'll just have to evacuate areas. So that's what will probably happen, in my opinion. And that's using Occam's razor and critical thinking and thinking it through. So if you're near any of those areas, bad idea. Top 5 nutrition foods for dummies. I would simply search the internet. For me, it's wild edibles. They're all right outside the door. The only problem with that, where we live in the winter, they don't exist. So we would have to be going under the snow for like tubers, for cattails or something like that, or growing in rigid greenhouses, which we have. Steve Smith, $5. Boom. Super chat. Barbara, $20. Letty, super chat. Thank you as well. Thank you all for tuning in and listening. It's always a pleasure to talk to my fans and my friends on the live stream. Okay, I'll take one more. Froggy, small personal scale, maybe. Imagine if this speeds up and just slings all the water off. I can't believe I read that. Leah's birthday's coming up on the weekend. Please wish her a happy birthday. Someone just did that. And thanks to all our one-time donors, our Patreons, the people that share these videos. If you don't know, we have multiple channels. We have Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and we post almost every day on both channels. Magnetic Reversal News usually every other day. Oppenheimer Ranch has been pretty much every day for a while, sometimes every other day, because we all need a break. It's been awesome. We love you. And that's a boom to knowledge. Click on one of the other boxes to gain more knowledge, except now, because they won't show up until after we edit the video.